And look at this, we are back. Cape Ann Today has returned live at Hammond Castle on Hesperus Avenue in Magnolia. I am Kory Curcuru with my co-host Heather Atwood.
Kory, it's so great to see you. I haven't seen you in real life in such a long time.
I'm just used to seeing you around a Zoom box.
Exactly,
for so long. Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is what it's like to be out in public again.
It's exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, and we're returning to the place where we did Cape Ann Today for Halloween, I believe in 2019.
I was here for Short and Sweet.
Yeah.
We were still doing Short and Sweet then. And you did Cape Ann Today with Maureen, Elward, you were in front of the fireplace. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great. We were in the grand room for that. We'll probably do that again this Halloween season too. But today we are coming at you from the dining room, John Hayes Hammond's dining room, which is right off of the courtyard behind us here that you can see. And that's why we're sort of at the adult table, Heather and I, today.
Yeah, exactly. The table, the 20th century table, maybe 18th, doesn't quite fit the modern chairs. So
this
we're
is usually
a little
how
low.
we eat dinner anyway.
Yeah,
We
right.
have our pectorals on the table as we're
Exactly.
eating. So.
They're a big bib.
Yeah. So we're really excited to be back live and doing this with you again and being on the community for 1623 Studios. And we plan on doing this now every couple of weeks or so. And we're going to be at Beauport Hotel Friday, July 23rd. But we have a great group of guests here, not only from the castle, but from the neighborhood as well. Magnolia, maybe a little bit of Gloucester in there too. So
Ward 5, as I like to say.
Heather loves he loves her wards.
Yeah, I do.
Ward 5. So without further ado, let's welcome our musical guest for today. This is Kory Wren. Kory, thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks for having me.
And Kory, you're a musician, a singer-songwriter from Rockport.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, great. And so we'll have you back on in a bit, and you're going to play a couple songs for us today. Super appreciative of that, so thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Heather, are we ready to roll?
I'm ready. First guest on the Cape Ann Today remote show.
Yeah,
Right?
who knew? Okay, Alana, let's have it. Our first guest is Katie McElwain. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Hammond Castle. And Heather and I have Zoomed with her in the past.
Yes.
During the COVID. So
It's
how are you,
actually
Katie?
kind of funny to actually meet you in person.
Yeah, so Katie, scooch up close to
We
that
need
as
you
much
close.
as you
All right.
need, right? And thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and it's great to see the castle open again.
I know.
Yeah.
We're
And
really
it looks
excited.
beautiful. I had a very hard time finding the restrooms, so I went all over the
over to
place.
find-
And I
yeah.
found all these beautiful rooms. The kitchen looks beautiful. It's really looking
I'm
very
glad you
nice.
enjoyed
Yeah,
it,
guests
yeah.
people should come visit because it looks
Absolutely.
spectacular.
And then
yeah.
we've redone the courtyard, so yeah, it's been a big few months. Even though we were, quiet because of COVID, we made the best use of it. So
Yeah, I mean, we should say that the castle's open right now. That was a tour that just passed right behind us, which is great to see. And so, how has reopening been? I mean, it's
been so easy in a way. And just people have been just so excited to come back out, which is great, which is what we were hoping.
Yeah.
But I mean, events even have just been filling up. So we had our first movie night last night. It was supposed to be on the back lawn, but
so are we.
yeah. Weather had other ideas.
So
we,
was it in the Grand Hall?
Yeah, we did it in the Great Hall, and
that's
it really
great.
was. It was still really great. I mean, it's not a bad place to watch a movie.
Yeah.
you
So
know?
explain what movie night is for folks.
So every week, every Thursday in July, we have a movie. It will be, weather permitting, on the back lawn. We've got a big screen. Rob from Cape Ann Cinema comes in and he puts everything up. So it's like a whole
so the couches
real
come
production.
The
yeah.
couches guy. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Great
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
So, I meant to bring down, so next week we have Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and I'm really excited about that. And the licensing people from Monty Python gave us coconut shells to hand out. So the first 50 people that buy tickets for the movie get these coconut shells, and I was going to come and show you. I forgot.
That's
But-
awesome, though. But
yeah.
let's talk about what the movie lineup actually is, because
Yes.
they're so befitting of the castle.
Of the castle. So we just did Secret of Kells last night, which is a kids movie. It was really beautiful, though. Next weekend, as I said, Monty Python, and then we have Princess Bride on the 22nd, and then Young Frankenstein is on the 29th.
Yes,
so Mel Brooks.
Frankenstein.
Yes.
Was it filmed here? It feels like it's just so
It
perfect.
looks like
Yeah,
it, right? No, but it's fitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll be doing more in the fall as well. So we'll see how these go.
That's
but so
great.
far, people seem to really like it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Katie, let me ask, what sort of guests has the castle been receiving this year? Has it changed because of COVID? Are there more day trippers? Are more locals
We
coming
do
out?
have a lot of staycationers, day trippers, yeah. I don't know if that's changed so much, but there's definitely just a lot of, and even on our Instagram, I've been noticing a lot of Instagram pages are following us that are like travel local pages, local road trip pages. So it does seem like that's a thing now. I think even though everything's, all these restrictions have been lifted, I'm sure people still aren't really traveling far.
Right.
So, but the community, like we've just had so many people even just coming back a few times, which is, I feel like something that's a little new.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's great. It's been really good.
I feel as if there are more rooms open. Is that true?
Well, there are from maybe last time you were here, because
Yeah.
we did have, we've had a few every year, and I'm going to talk about one of them coming up in a little bit, but every year there's a restoration that we have to focus on. So at various times there's something that's closed probably. So 2 years ago we had the downstairs was closed. This past spring, the courtyard was closed. So yeah, right now is a really good time to come because everything's open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
so
for
yeah.
local people, if they haven't seen it, they should recheck what's going on here.
Yes,
Because it's
yeah.
really beautiful when I, sort of swirled through.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
looks
You know,
great.
and I was just thinking as I was waiting to come on, like, I've been a tour guide here for 2 years. I've been the marketing director since April. I have a, history in museums, but there's not a day that I don't come in and still find something I haven't seen before.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can definitely come more than once and still find things.
Yeah, I've been coming here since I was a kid. I grew up right down the street, and every time you're in, it's like
Yeah,
you're
it's
either
like, oh,
reminded of
yeah.
something super
Right.
cool. Oh my God, look at that feature that you hadn't noticed
Right,
before. And I
exactly.
think you and the curator and staff here are still discovering things as well about Hammond
We
too.
are, and yeah, we have just an amazing crew. The last 2 years since our executive director started, she's just brought in so many amazing people.
Linda
And
Harvey, yep.
there are, Linda, and I mean, even just like our archivists, there's stuff in our archives that hasn't even been looked at in 50 years. It's been in boxes. So she's up there and next to my office, and I'm always like, "What'd you find today?"
Yeah.
So you have another fundraiser coming up, is that
We
right?
do, yes. Actually, speaking of restoration projects, so quick little tiny history. I won't get into it all, but the castle was built between 1926 and 1929. So it was all new construction at the time, but Hammond used a lot of medieval parts, and those medieval parts tend to, deteriorate over time. So one of the things that we're really trying to save right now is the arches as you come into the castle on the outside. They sort of frame the ocean.
Yeah.
Those are actually 12th century arches. Yeah, so they are starting to show some deterioration. So we really need to. That's our big project for 2021 is to get that going. And we do have some money pledged, but we need to match that. So we have our big event, August 15th, is our summer evening soiree. And that is going to be a really nice, formal, not formal, but, dressy event. We've got a wonderful jazz group coming from Boston that's going to be playing a quartet, singer, food, hors d'oeuvres, cash bar. So it's just a really great opportunity to sort of give to that cause, but still have a good time night about it.
Yeah,
So,
very nice.
so we do have those tickets are up online now. So.
And what other, I know you're packed with weddings
Oh
and
my
events
gosh,
like
yeah.
that this summer, especially making up for last year.
Yeah.
What other programs do you have going on throughout the summer?
Okay, so, actually August 4th, which, just a few weeks, we have Emerald Ray, who's a Gloucester native, coming. She lives in Vermont right now, but she's coming home to do a concert here specifically. So August 4th, we will have her. We have the Spiritualism and Candlelight tours start in August on Thursdays, and
Yeah.
those
Those are very
run.
popular.
Yes, those
Yeah.
are hugely popular. So in the evenings we do candlelight tours, and then after the candlelight tours, there are also these spiritualism tours. So our tour guides are really well versed in sort of all the ways that the Hammonds were involved in that. So it's really interesting, kind of a different thing that you wouldn't necessarily see on a day tour. So.
Yeah. Well, Katie, we say this all the time, but Hammond Castle truly is one of the true crown jewels of Cape Ann.
I think so.
Yeah, and we love that you have us back again and again. We want to be back here for Halloween, obviously.
Yes,
for obvious reasons.
absolutely.
And I think we may be working on a Timeline Cape Ann about the good man himself, John
Oh,
Hayes
good.
Hammond Jr. Yeah. So we'll talk a bit
Excellent.
about that soon too.
Okay.
But if people want to learn more about the castle or come visit, how can they go about doing that?
Just go to hammondcastle.org. We have, our events calendar is always up to date. I'm actually putting more stuff up today. Follow us on Facebook. Pretty active on that. Instagram, obviously. So yeah, we're just so much going on. There's always, you could check the website probably weekly and there'd be something new all the time that's coming up. So
Yeah. And are you part of this tour at all?
I don't do the tours anymore.
Add those words into
Yeah.
our show.
Yeah, is anybody here? I used to be really good. I could tell you every date of everything in this room.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Can you tell us
yeah.
about the table?
I can. It's a 14th century German table. And the reason it's so narrow is because back then, wealthy people actually ate on one side and were served food from the other. So they would not have sat facing each other. They didn't need a table that was, Now, why it's so tall, I don't know.
Maybe
They
I
walk and
feel
bring me
really
my
little.
donuts.
yeah, right. We all do. Yeah.
That I don't have an answer for.
Well, that's great because we
Yeah.
did wonder about this
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, Katie, thank you so much
Thank
for your time.
you. Thank you for
thanks to everyone at the
coming.
castle for having us today.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And sharing those stories, and we can't wait to come back again.
Good.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much,
And
Katie.
I want to go on the
Natalie.
spiritualism tour.
You should.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
All right.
I love it. I'm so happy for the castle. And I literally have been coming here for almost 40 years now.
That will be some timeline.
Yeah, sometimes after hours. That's happened too. But I've been here for weddings.
Classic
I've been
Kory.
here for movie night. I've been here for a Chelsea Berry concert.
Have you done the Candlelight tour?
I have not done, not a sanctioned. Yeah, not a sanctioned
So
one.
Kory.
But
So,
I have,
yeah,
it's great. Awesome stories here too, and I'm really looking forward to doing that timeline
I know.
and learning more about the inventor. It's not necessarily about the medieval castle and all that. It's really his inventions, and that's what the museum's really all about. So,
See, what I know about is his cook. I did
right.
a whole story on his cook, which is a whole, we won't get into that now, but, and I think they still sell the cookbook in the gift shop.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
So who's next, Kory?
Well, I believe Jen Holmgren is going to be joining us. She is the outgoing, come on in, Jen,
Come on in,
at-large
sit down.
counselor for Gloucester and a Ward 5. You'll love to hear this. A Ward 5
Ward
resident.
5, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Which ward do you live in?
We live in Ward 5.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
5, Precinct 2, but
Oh.
Magnolia Ave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
great to
Jen, for
see
joining
you.
us. And if you just think
sure.
of it, just be close and just loud to the mic. if
Okay,
possible.
Yeah.
okay,
Close,
thank you.
You can be
All
shouty like me if
My
needed.
projection voice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
from the diaphragm.
Well,
Got it.
thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
Jen.
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And so right off the top, we know, so you're not running again. I know
Right.
you explained it through social posts and all that, and through the Times. Would you like to just reiterate your decision?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, so it's been a really wonderful few years of being a counselor at large, but COVID sort of drove the point home that I need to spend a little more time at home. We have a daughter who's going into 6th grade, and I really want to be mom for a little while, but I'm not leaving Gloucester. I mean, I still want to volunteer. I've volunteered before I was on city council. I would like to apply to be on a couple of commissions for the city just to stay active and to serve in the best way I know how.
I'd kind of like to know why you did decide to run, Jen, and why counselor at large?
Well, it's a long story, but I've volunteered on campaigns. I've been politically active for a very long time, 9 years now. And I think I said this in my social media post. I got involved with politics after the Sandy Hook massacre, and I'm sad that it took me that long to figure out that I could be of assistance that way. But I really threw myself into it, and it's funny. There's the thought that women need to be asked 6 times, bare minimum, to really feel like they are comfortable running for office, and I was counting the number of times I was asked, and it was at least 6 by different people, but I decided that I could help out best by running for council. And at large, our Ward 5 councilor, Sean Nolan, is terrific. I felt that Ward 5 was in good hands. It's very important to me to be a steward of the city without causing division as best as I can. So I've lived in wards 5, 4, and 2. So I'm familiar with a lot of issues around the city in my lifetime, and so that's where I felt I could best help.
And so what challenges have you faced in the last year trying to serve the community through the pandemic?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I mean, The pandemic just rocked everybody's world, and there were some people who really had to deal with it. I mean, I'm a nurse, but I wasn't on the front line. I was not at the bedside. I have a job as an adult foster care nurse, so we were able to go onto Zoom to do our visits, and I'm very happy that we're back in the house visiting people. Because it doesn't feel like nursing to do that, although it's safer for everybody, but I felt responsible for helping the community to learn as much as they could about the coronavirus, to help people who were on the front lines. And that doesn't just include healthcare workers. I mean, the retail workers really put themselves on the line every single day, and they had to wait the longest for vaccinations. My best friend works as the bakery manager at Market Basket, and I just watched every single day as she and her coworkers dove in and did the best they could to serve people. So I felt responsible for kind of trying to be a referee or a traffic director, but it was demanding. It was demanding on all of us. So
I think the rain has just picked up.
It sure did.
Is that what that is? Wow.
That's
On the skylight there. Yeah.
So Jen, let's talk about some of your accomplishments.
Oh.
And we know, like one thing I know that you helped facilitate was better signage to steer people towards Magnolia and the retailers there.
I was so happy to help with that. I was really a very small part in that whole thing, but I feel very strongly that Magnolia and specifically Lexington Avenue and the surrounding businesses are going through sort of a renaissance. And there are some really talented people in Ward 5 in West Gloucester who have their businesses in Magnolia, and they deserve recognition. I asked the Chamber for help with that, the Chamber of Commerce. I asked the city's Economic Development Department for help with that. There is signage. It's small, but it's there. And I really want to thank Alana and Rebecca and everybody else who started up the Magnolia Community Farmers Market. That has been an absolute boon for local businesses, for Lexington Avenue, and it was really terrific during the pandemic to be able to order fresh food remotely and come pick it up and enjoy camaraderie with my friends from a distance. But to know that I was helping and helping as best I could to keep the community alive.
Yeah.
They have nice signs too, the Magnolia Farmers Market. I know.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a big one in our yard.
Basically, it was a true COVID success story.
Yeah.
It was,
Yes, it was.
how that took off. Pretty amazing stuff.
Yep.
So, Jen, do you want to comment at all about what has been going on at City Hall and how that has affected the group? I know that a lot of familiar faces are bowing out this year. There's a lot of new people running for elections this fall. But just what has it been like navigating those waters for the last year or so?
Well, I'm, as a nurse, I'm a pretty tough person. I know I don't look it, but I am, and it's been tough on all of us. I can't speak for anyone else besides myself, but we all have our reasons for doing what we're doing, and I respect the service that everybody on the council and the mayor and all the city employees have put into really their everyday duties, especially during this really, I hate to use this word, but unprecedented time. There really was no playbook for COVID. I read recently that a lot of elected officials are stepping down across the country, but hopefully the turnover will help. I think it'll help us as a community to sort of reassess our priorities, to see where we're going. And I do think that turnover is healthy. It's important to have different listening ears and different perspectives.
So do you think there's a sense of exhaustion? Do you feel exhaustion? Do you think the city leaders feel that? Do you think there was a turn when the vaccine happened and everyone kind of said, oh, and they maybe just fell apart a little bit?
Well, I myself didn't feel the turn. I'm still being very cautious, but I will say, I don't know, as we've slowly reopened, people are just kind of relaxing a little bit and really feeling like they can get together with their friends and family again. I sort of feel like, at least for me, this past year, I would joke, but it's not really a joke. I would take, a nap every single day and cry intermittently. I mean, it was tough. It was tough
Stressful.
on everybody because you just don't know what's going on. We were building the airplane as it was going down the runway, as it were, So I feel like just now I'm starting to wake up again. Really, having face-to-face interactions with people is healthy. It's what we're meant to do as a society, and I adore my family. But it's important for all of us to just sort of start assimilating with each other again,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, we have to practice having dinner parties.
Yeah, that would be a lot of
actually
fun.
heard that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice dinner parties.
Yeah.
So Jen, what advice would you give to a hopeful at-large counselor?
Ooh, that's a good question. Listen, knowing that you have opinions, but what you need to bring to the table are other people's opinions. And that's a very difficult balance to strike sometimes. I certainly made mistakes. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm hoping that I'll continue to do better in the future. I think with age comes wisdom, and I'm 41 now, and I'm kind of excited about that. I think that the experience of running is very important. It's a terrific learning experience. It's a privilege, but I think probably the most important thing is that as a representative, you're giving other people's opinions when you're up on that dais. So.
Well said. Well, Jen, we appreciate your service. We really do.
Thank you very
We're sorry to
much.
see you go.
Oh, thank
But
you, Kory.
the next
Thank
time
you,
we're in
Heather.
Ward 5, maybe you can
can't
come
wait to
on
come back.
in civvies, right?
Yeah,
And chat with us
yeah.
about all the great things going on here again. Yeah. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah,
It's
thanks
lovely to
again.
see you both.
It's
Thank
great to
you.
see you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And best of luck in the next step.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. That's
Bye.
Jen Holmgren. She is the outgoing at-large counselor for the city of Gloucester and Ward 5 resident.
Yeah.
Some great stuff there, too.
I'm going to get confused when we go to another ward.
We'll walk through you. We'll walk through all that for
Okay,
you,
thank
too.
you. Yeah.
And fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, not an easy time in City Hall too. But we have great people in there serving, and we're all sort of trying to get through this together.
Anyone who serves is great. It's
Yeah.
just it's tough to get elected. It's
Yeah.
tough to do the job. It's tough. So yeah,
All right,
we're
Heather, who do we
grateful.
have next?
We have Felicia Webb, who is the administrator at CADA, our local transportation authority. Hi, Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. How are you?
Good, how are
Thanks
you?
for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah. So if you think about it, just be loud. Like try to match my voice if possible.
I will do the
And
best I
speak
can.
into that mic. Yeah.
I don't know if I can,
Yeah.
but all right.
All right, Felicia. Why are you here today? There's a lot going on at CADA, right?
No, wait. I want to hear what happened to CADA
Well,
through
that's
the
true.
pandemic.
Yeah.
So how did CADA survive? How did it go? Did we need your services more or less during the pandemic?
The pandemic was difficult for CADA like it was for everyone. At the beginning, we were a little nervous. No one knew exactly what was going on in terms of how it was transmitted, all of that. We ended up buying a 55-gallon drum of hand sanitizer. We have 750 masks that are being delivered on a monthly basis. We have the electrostatic defoggers. We got all of that in the first couple of months so that, once we had that material, we were a little bit more comfortable. The drivers were more comfortable, mechanics, all of that. We did suspend fare collection for about 6 months, and that was just to eliminate, interactions between the customers and the operators as much as possible, handling of the money. We made it. CADA was very lucky in terms of people who got sick. We were very fortunate. And I think, in terms of our services, I think it's probably maybe a little bit more we were needed for some services, and then less services. Kids weren't going to school or the split shifts, so we didn't need CADA bus there. But for people going to medical appointments, vaccinations, we did some transportation out of town for that. People needed CADA for that.
Right.
So have you pivoted back now to somewhat of a regular schedule and some, how things were before this all happened?
We have. actually our summer services were canceled last summer.
Yeah.
Those are beginning right now. We started one on Friday, that's Rockport, that's up and running 7 days a week. Stage Fort and Ipswich, they start tomorrow. Those are Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. So that's a little bit more normalcy for CATA. It felt like last summer was kind of a missed summer because we didn't have all of our customers on our buses, during the summer season. So it's nice that that's going to be back.
And are people still required to wear masks on the bus?
Yeah, masks are required right now up until September 13th. That's a federal regulation.
Passengers as well?
Yep, passengers
okay.
and drivers.
On all forms of transportation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So what are the challenges you're facing now? What do you feel is on, and actually I'm going to back up and say, do you feel it's a challenge to make CATA relevant on Cape Ann? Like, are you looking to tell people that we are here, ride our buses, it's very reasonable to ride your buses to get around Cape Ann?
I think CATA would like to do some outreach, just make sure people understand what we offer. It's not just school kids and seniors. It's, everybody can use the CATA bus. We're here for everyone. We started a new program in April. That's the CATA On Demand program. And that's Monday through Friday, 7:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. There's a service zone. It doesn't cover all of CATA. It covers most of Gloucester. But that's $2 a ride. People can call the bus using an app on their phone. And I think that's nice because we have some former CATA riders, normal CATA people, but we also have customers that have never used CATA before using that service now.
So I think that's an interesting point. So Felicia, if you had the opportunity to tell someone who lives here but has never used the CATA services before, like what do you want that person to know about CATA? Just what's available to them.
What's available, we're fixed route service, regular bus service, Monday through Saturday in Rockport and Gloucester. The CATA On Demand is more of an actual real on-demand service. So if the fixed route doesn't work, on demand works, that's $2 a ride. And then if you are a senior, or a person with a disability, we also have the more normal, traditional on-demand dial-a-ride service, and that is you call the day before, make a reservation, and the van comes actually to your house.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the radius is, it's all of Cape Ann. Does it go to Manchester?
The regular CATA bus does not go to Manchester. Manchester is not a member of CATA.
Oh, okay.
CATA is Gloucester, Rockport, Ipswich, Essex, and Hamilton.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So the on-demand piece, and I wonder about this all the time because I see the buses going by all the time. You have to be on the route. Do you have to find your way to the route if you want to do the on-demand thing?
When you make a reservation, it will tell you to go to
A stop on the route?
an intersection.
Yeah.
It does not need to be on the regular fixed route.
Okay.
Like fixed route runs up and down Washington. If you live on Mansfield Street, it may tell you to go to Mansfield and Riggs.
Okay.
But it will not pick you up directly at your home unless you are a person with a disability.
All right. And will they, if you're a person with a disability?
Yeah, we go to your home.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really very flexible.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And-
It's a good service.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I honestly wonder why I don't use it. Every time I see the bus go by, I'm like, I should start
You
doing
could have
that.
come in handy today. We have a big crew with us.
I know, we could have all taken the bus.
Yeah, you
right?
You could
It's
have.
not a bad idea.
So Felicia, if people want to learn more about CATA, how can they go about doing that?
They can go to our website, which we actually redesigned and launched last week. It's cantran.com, so CANNTRAN.com.
Has there been any talk at all about electric vehicles? CATA
We
buses?
have had some electric vehicles come visit CATA. We did a demo last week or the week before. So it's something that we're looking into. For us, and I think for any other transit authority, it's going to be a switch, and we're used to diesel. We know what diesel can do. And then electric, there's going to be a learning curve for it. What do we do with the batteries after they're, not useful in the vehicle anymore?
Yeah.
So there's more of a learning curve, but we are looking into potential, electric. It's a ways away though. It's
Right.
not immediate.
Yeah.
How long has CATA been serving the community? Do you know?
CATA has been here since 1974.
Yeah, amazing.
I was going to say the
so
70s.
have I.
Yeah. We got Kory, we got Kata.
Yeah, lucky community.
Exactly. Big year for us.
Yeah. Well, Felicia, thank you so much for spending time with us today. It was cool. I learned a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on the bus, but I want to know about the story behind the bus.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Not
No.
Thank you
being
for
big.
having me.
So, yeah, we'd
Yeah,
love to
it's
chat
great.
with you again sometime down the
Okay,
road.
yeah.
And thanks for your time.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And now I understand so much better how to get on that bus.
Yes.
And I will.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Felicia Webb,
See
she's
you soon.
administrator with CATA, Cape Ann Transportation Authority. Stalwarts of the community.
Born in 1974.
All right, Heather. Let's
All right.
lighten the mood a bit.
Okay, so we have Kory Rinn, our alt rock singer-songwriter from Rockport. Kory, do you want to sit here and talk to us and tell us about who you are and how you got here?
Yeah. Kory Rinn, ladies and gentlemen. Our musical accompaniment. By the way, I love this part of the show. I love that we have a
I
musical
know.
guest each time we do
I know,
Cape Ann
I do
Today
too.
Live.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah,
You
thanks for
sound
being
so
on.
good.
Thanks.
You
Yeah.
really do, yeah. So you grew up in Rockport,
I did,
and
yeah.
there's this whole legacy of Rockport music. Nathan Cohen, right? Were you a student of Nathan Cohen's?
I was not. I entered Rockport from having gone to the Waldorf School and having done classical music, but somehow I didn't make it into Rockport music. I don't remember what my choices were.
So when you
Really.
arrived, you were already playing classical guitar in like middle school, is that right?
No, my first instrument was piano. And how I got started with guitar was in a time of my life, there wasn't a piano around, but there was a guitar. And I just picked it up and taught myself how to play. And 12 years down the line, here I am.
So did you go to college for music?
I did not.
Where did you go to college?
I went to college at UMass Amherst. And funny thing, and the great thing about having the relationship with professors is you can talk about final projects in a more open way. And you should. If you're out there and you are in school, you should talk to your professors about not doing a paper, but doing a creative project. So what really drove me to write my first EP was instead of writing a 12-page paper, I wrote a 3-song EP about the subject.
What was the subject?
It was about environmental justice, and we were looking into like corporations and their interactions with communities, one in West Virginia, soy farmers in South America. So I wrote a couple of songs about, one titled, You Can't Buy Back the Rain from the Sky.
I've heard that song.
Oh,
It's a great song, yeah.
And another one called Legacy. It's like, kind of goes along the story of the Lorax in Dr. Seuss.
yeah.
Right.
Kind of like that.
So are you going to play something for us now?
I am going to play something for you, but it's not one of those songs. When I was crewing on Schooner Adventure, I really loved that time and got inspired by Gloucester Harbor and having lived around here. So the song I'm going to play you all is called Docks of Old Gloucester. And it's about Schooner Adventure and the city back in the day.
Beautiful. Thank
We'll
you.
set up and do that. Heather and I, in the meantime, will probably be bailing out the castle, fitting for.
Is it leaking?
No, it's a,
I
it's a,
hope not.
it's a monsoon out there too.
Yeah.
So Kory, are you gigging at all?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I will be. You can find me and my band, Northwest Fox, at the Drift Cafe on July 22nd.
There you go.
And August 5th. I will also be with that same group at the Cape Ann Farmers Market on Harbor Loop on July 22nd and August 19th.
Nice.
And I will also be with that same group at Rockport Illumination on August 14th.
Oh yeah, that's a good gig.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a nice
All right,
one.
Kory, take it away.
This is Docks of Old Gloucester. When I go out on the docks of Old Gloucester, fresh catching ice and the seagulls roam free, I know that's where the sea breeze will call me, and somewhere out there my ship will be. Haddock and cod, so tried and hung, from the great banks
Love stories home for peaceful sleep. And I've seen wind and wave. And I've known pouring rain. And somewhere out there, my ship will be. A beam reach sail and the fog bank come rolling. Better yet with 4 hours sleep. Fish your falls with Atlantic rollers, or you'll find yourself way down in deep. And I've seen wind and waves. And I've known pouring rain. And somewhere out there, my ship will be.
Beautiful, Kory.
Thank you very much.
That was great. Hey, if people want to find you and find your music, how can they do that?
You can find me on all streaming platforms: Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Instagram, Spotify, everywhere.
You're
And
all over
that's
the place.
Rin spelled W-R-I-N-N.
Correct.
Yeah.
You can find me Kory Rin Music or Northwest Fox.
There you go.
Those are the 2 groups I
Right.
play with.
But we love that you've been with us for the day, and we're going to get back to you soon for another song.
Great.
How's that sound?
It sounds fantastic.
Awesome. All right, Kory Rin, ladies and gentlemen, that was great stuff here. If you're just tuning in, Heather, Atwood, and I are at Hammond Castle at Hesperus Ave in Magnolia as Cape Ann Today Live returns after a 1.5-year hiatus or so.
Yeah, when we just a year and a half on Zoom.
Yeah, right. right.
So the
Yeah.
live part is back.
Yeah, and you can still watch the daily Cape Ann Today broadcast each morning, 1623 Studios on local cable as well for Comcast, and all of our outlets, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, we're there. So we're super grateful to the Hammond Castle for having us today. And we have our next guest.
Yes,
is
we
ready
do.
to roll.
Yeah, from the Cape Ann Symphony. We have Fran White, the board president of Cape Ann Symphony, and she's going to tell us about an important concert coming up.
Beautiful. All right,
Yeah.
come on in, have a seat, Fran.
Hi,
and you know
Fran.
what's great is Fran has been a Cape Ann Today guest over the past year or so.
Nice to see
And
you.
we loved chatting with her and with Yoichi Utagawa as well.
couldn't be here today, but I'm
So-
happy.
Come a little closer.
So, Fran, only one person looks smaller on this table than me.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
getting smaller every day.
Yeah, we are
Well,
horrible
the
at being
table is
14th
tall.
century Germans, I can tell you that. But thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. And you are a Magnolia resident. You live right down the road.
I do live right down. My address is 179 Hesperus Avenue,
Yeah.
so sort of neighbors of the castle.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get to that, but I just want to remind people that we had an amazing conversation with Fran at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
Because your company, MDC, was actually, you're a microbiologist.
I am a clinical microbiologist, and we've been very much involved in bringing products through the FDA for COVID testing. So we've brought something like 6 or 8 products through the FDA, and we continue to do that. So I'd like to think it's gone completely, but I don't know, not 100%. But
Right.
we're still, but we've worked with a lot of other products over the years as well. So sort of trying to get back to normal again.
Yeah, well, it was such an interesting conversation to have with you because none of us understood the pandemic. We knew the testing was really important, and we learned through talking to you about the symphony that you were actually doing this work of,
Yes.
bringing these
Right.
tests to the to market. Yeah,
Right,
it's
so-
really interesting.
And I distinctly remember Fran saying that we may get some sort of, not a cure, but a little bit of help, a vaccine by October or so of last year. You're spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually got my shots down in Florida, October 1st and October 29th.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's great.
yeah.
Now, throughout the pandemic, the Cape Ann Symphony continued in a different way, and that
In a
included.
very different format. We, unfortunately, like all entertainment, we could not have live concerts. So we did virtual concerts throughout the year. And they're still posted, so you can still listen to them, purchase them. They're very reasonably priced. Some are $20, some are $25. Great music. And once you download it, you can enjoy it forever. So there's some wonderful concerts there. But what we really look forward to is getting back to live music.
Right.
And we, as a symphony, are really working hard to try to get back to where we were with live performances, and we're still planning that, but trying to do some other things in the interim.
Right. Now, normally you would be at schools, right?
Normally, we perform at both Manchester Essex High School and the Ipswich High School, which is a challenge right now. And as we look to bring our season back, usually our season will start in September with our first concert, and that's usually at Manchester Essex High School. We're not sure how the schools are going to operate and if they'll be open to us. So we've made a decision that we will plan our hopeful comeback in November for our holiday concert, and that will probably be a series of 3 concerts. If we can be in the schools, we will, and if we can't, we're looking at alternate venues. So that's our plan, to come back with a full orchestra and full concerts, hopefully.
Right.
There's a lot depends on that.
Are there still too many restrictions on large gatherings? Is
There
that the
aren't
problem?
restrictions on large gatherings any longer. It's, number one, I think there are restrictions in the schools still, and will the schools be open to community events like Cape Ann Symphony, which we can't answer that question yet. And also, will people, even though there are no restrictions, do people feel 100% comfortable being in an audience of 400 to 500 people? So, I think that's, time will tell. And our plan is to think of our first concert in November and make that a really exciting opening after 2 years.
Right.
That's our
Well,
goal.
just before things got very dark with the pandemic, you did host the Cape Ann Symphony at your beautiful home in Magnolia.
We did.
And I attended.
I'm so glad you did. And we are planning that again this year. And
Yeah.
that is, we're really excited about it. It is planned for July 18th. There'll be 2 concerts, one at 3 and one at 5:30. We, this year, can sell more tickets, so we're selling 70 tickets per concert, so it's still a very limited number. I think one of the great things about the concert was the closeness to the musicians and the fact that you really are you're in tuned and you're in touch with the musician. If it hadn't rained, which we had watched the weather very carefully, and it had said no rain, and then it rained, so we had a lot
Right.
of moving around to do, but we managed to pull it off. This year, I really think it's going to be the classical music event of the season, I hope, especially on Cape Ann.
Yeah.
We're going to do 2 concerts. There will be wine and refreshments, which we had hoped we'd do last year, which we couldn't do.
Right.
So that will happen before the concert. And that's really exciting. And then the concert, we have very special music. Yuichi's done a great job at selecting what is very different music. He has selected music composed by Black and women composers, which isn't as often seen, but the music is beautiful. And I really encourage people. It's a wonderful take.
Yeah. Well, the setting was absolutely beautiful. All around your pool, she has this beautiful sort of lima bean shaped pool, so there are
Yeah.
lots of curves in it, and there were
And-
so there are lots of different angles to view the symphony, and it was really special.
We should
Yeah.
go in there on our 1623 floaty. And watch the
Hey,
show.
yeah, you can float it right in the
Yeah.
pool. We're happy to have you.
So, Fran, if people want tickets to the show, how can they do that?
They can go online to capeannsymphony.org, or there is a phone number to call as well. And do I have the phone number?
We can share that after the
Yeah.
fact too, if it's
Okay.
not right
I
there.
do have it somewhere. 978
Yeah.
281 0543.
Beautiful.
And so the tickets are available online, and we encourage people to come. It's a wonderful experience. I'm going to really work with Yuichi to be sure that he is available pre-concert, which Sometimes he doesn't.
Oh, but he's
Always
so much
Monty.
fun to talk to.
We get him with
Yeah.
Taking today all the time.
Yeah, he's great to talk to.
Yeah,
and
he
so,
is.
But maybe
yeah.
pre-concert, he's got all the
He's got-
music in his
yeah,
head.
so maybe post-concert.
Post-concert's better.
Post-concert, he'll
Yeah.
be with the audience a little more. So, it should be a wonderful day.
Yeah,
We're
well,
really looking
I
forward to
am
it.
going to try to get tickets again.
Please.
So, yes,
Yeah.
I will.
If we do have a rain date, and we had a rain date last year, but it was not supposed to rain, and then it rained.
Well,
very
and the
unexpected.
pandemic was just so, it made everything so confusing.
It was so hard. But yeah, we really, we hope it'll even be better this year, so.
Yeah.
We had to take temperatures last year. We had to put people 6 feet apart. There was a lot of planning that happened.
It
so.
was, and that showed in the experience for
It took
sure.
a lot of planning, and so this time, it takes a lot of planning, but it's a little easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
and telling us all about this. And
Thank you.
Good luck
Thank
with.
you for having us.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
we,
Fran, it was great to catch up.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So nice to be able to talk to you again.
Yeah, and we'll talk again before summer's up because we want to see what's going to happen with the symphony once schools do reopen.
Yes,
Really.
we should have more information. We're looking forward to getting
Perfect.
that.
Great.
Thank you again
Thank you,
for
Fran.
All
having me.
right.
Bye
Sure.
now.
That's
Take
Fran
care.
White. She's the board president for Cape Ann Symphony. You can learn more at capeannsymphony.org and get tickets for the event at Fran's home right down the street on July 18th. Awesome stuff.
Okay, this is my a favorite interview
I
coming
know.
up.
I know. It was one of our first guests for Short and Sweet.
Yeah, back then.
The
That was
food
like
cast Heather and I used to do
100 years ago we
way
did
back
that,
when.
right?
Yeah, this is Rebecca Doyon, and she is the owner of Sweet Reeves, which we'll talk about also. But she's also the co-manager of the Magnolia Community Farmers Market, which we've already heard from other guests. That's been lauded as a smash success.
Yes.
It has been.
How are you, Rebecca?
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks for being here with
Thanks
us.
so much for having me.
It's great to
a
see you
pleasure
again.
to be back.
Yeah.
Glad to be back on such a gloomy day, but this is fabulous. So.
You did not bring key lime pie.
I
Yeah,
did
where is the
not.
key lime pie?
What happened there?
It was.
Oh.
It's in the freezer.
Yeah.
Is there key lime pie at the farmer's market? That's what I wanted
So
to know.
the key lime pie, because it's a frozen dessert, it's tough to bring it into the market, but it is on our online platform. So if you order it through our online platform, I will deliver it to you in the market.
Oh,
Okay,
there you
and
go.
for those who don't know, it's a Sweet Reeves specialty.
It is the signature dessert. It's a frozen key lime pie with a vanilla coconut crust. It's been very popular in Gloucester and other surrounding communities for coming up close to a decade now since I've been running it. Started it at the Rudder a very long time ago, and it's just expanded from there. I have my own little side business going on, and it's one of the most requested desserts. So, but I would like to get it into the market. Actually, I should mention, start not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. If any of you have been to the market, you know Greg from the Eclectic Clam, and he sells his products, some of them frozen. He has a deep chest freezer in the market, so starting 2 weeks from now, I will be having the pies in the
great.
market to be sold because I can keep them frozen, thanks to Greg.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the farmers
Let's talk
market
about the
now.
farmers market,
So,
yeah.
for the folks outside of Ward 5 who may not have
Yes.
been yet, let's get the A to Z on how this all works.
Okay, so there is a team of 6 of us that all we work year-round to bring this market to Lexington Avenue. This is our 3rd season, and thankfully we are back on Lexington Avenue this year. Last year, because of COVID, we had to amend our plans, and we did an online platform only, where you were ordering online, and then we had a contactless drive-through pickup where you pre-order, you pay, vendors were delivering the goods to us. We were set up in the back parking lot of J.D. Myers and Friends. Owner Lloyd Waits, for anybody who knows Lloyd, is wonderful and so supportive of what we're trying to do to build community and really kind of get Lexington Avenue busy again. And so he let us set up in the back parking lot, and we kind of just had like a drive-through situation going where we had all the orders packaged. People would come through, pop their trunk, put it in, and off they went. It was a huge success.
And so you guys were pre-packaging everyone's orders. So they would order from different vendors. It
Yep.
all ended up in a box, and they picked up their box and left.
Correct. So
amazing.
Greg, who I mentioned before, he's also one of our team members, and he is in IT, and he set up a wonderful website for us where each vendor had their own shop, and you could just go and click on their shop, see what they're ordering, add it to your basket, pay through PayPal. We would get the order, send it to the vendors. The vendors would bring us their goods, on Sunday morning. We would package them all up in boxes and bags and then just pop it in the back of people's trucks for them. And like I said, the people were really reliant on that particular service, that they could still have access to locally produced fruits, vegetables, food entrepreneurs, all of the really amazing. We have a lot of food entrepreneurs in Gloucester, so it was really great to put a spotlight on that.
Yeah.
And Jen Holmgren was just talking about how it was also great to just see people for a little bit, even masked. It was just this thing that sort of united this little community
It was
during a hard time.
a real blessing to be able to have people come through, wave through the window. We were all masked, but just it still brought that sense of community in a period of time where everybody really needed it.
Yeah.
So it was really nice that we were able to pull it together quickly, because we were worried, how are people going to respond to this format? It's a farmer's market. Farmer's markets traditionally, it's a very social event, and as we all know, COVID restricted all of that.
Right.
But there was still that element of we had regular customers that we knew were coming through each week, and it really helped to maintain those relationships and bring the community together. It was really nice.
And so now the market today, it's Sundays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yes.
all along Lexington Avenue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, so we close Lexington Avenue from the top of Lexington down to Flume. And we've got anywhere between 12 to 15 vendors on the street. We always have musicians. So that social atmosphere is back. We are still offering the online platform. So if consumers
great.
are still feeling
Comfortable.
Yeah, so depending on what people's comfort levels are, we didn't want to remove that service in case people still felt that they needed that until everybody really felt comfortable. So we have done like a hybrid model. So you can go shop online. We do have vendors online, and it would be the same format. Place your order, add it to your basket, pay through PayPal, and then you just drive. Instead of going through the back parking lot, you just drive up Flume. And we have one of our team members, David Kelly, who pop your trunk, put it in, and off you go. So,
That's great.
Yeah, so it's a nice format to be able to offer until people really feel comfortable kind of coming back out into public and emerging from COVID.
So are you still looking for vendors at all for any of the weeks playing out through
We
the
will
summer?
always be looking for vendors.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we've been very fortunate that in our third season, vendors are now starting to seek us out, which is phenomenal, because that's where we wanted to get. We are a smaller market, but what that allows us to do is really focus on being a community and having contact with our vendors regularly. We do a lot of market metrics. We want to know how they are doing in the market. We want to know how their Sunday went, because that gives us direction on what we need to be doing to further advertise the market, what type of vendors we need to be pulling in. And we really want the spotlight to be on two things. We want to provide a platform for some of these smaller businesses that are trying to build their customer base, get their product out there, get their names, get their faces, and meet people. So we are always looking to provide that platform. And then we also, we're very community-centric. Magnolia, as we know, is a beautiful seaside community. The neighbors are always walking around. So we really focus what we are building on being very community supportive. So we're always looking to bring in new faces.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Let's go ahead, Heather.
I have to ask,
Yeah.
are there any of our local farmers at the market?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bob Marshall,
Oh, great.
Marshall's Farm Stand,
Yeah.
Gloucester's favorite farmer.
Yeah.
He's been a cornerstone of the market since day one. A
great.
very big supporter of ours. His son Jason is there.
I love Jason.
Jason's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
The Marshalls are amazing.
Yeah.
As a family and as a business. So Jason is there. He's usually right at the head of the market. And then we actually have 3 other farmers. We have Farmer Dave, who comes to us from Drinkit. Another large farm who does a lot of in addition to all their fresh produce, they do a lot of really great baked goods. In fact, my youngest daughter is addicted to their pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. So, yeah.
Well, that's saying something, being your daughter.
I know,
Right?
I'm like, she's like, no, Ma, like, I need to go get, and so every Sunday we have to get our pumpkin chocolate chip cookies from Farmer Dave. So they are there, and they're a phenomenal asset to the market. And then we have two smaller farms that come from Beverly. We have Saturn's Garden. They're an all-organic farm. They're new with us this season. They're family-run. They do a lot of seedlings and plants and to help.
wonderful.
Yeah. And they also have their own CSA, so they're available. And then we also have Skip's Place, which is a fantastic farm that is women-owned, coming from Beverly. I think she said she's got 15 acres or 5 acres. Anyways, she's an RN.
Oh.
And she's very focused on how food is medicine. So she brings some really unique things into the market that you might not see with some other farms. So a couple weeks ago when she was with us, I actually purchased from her ground cherries, which I'd never heard of before.
Oh, I love them. In the little husk?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
from that's the
They're delicious.
tomatillo.
Right, but it's yellow inside.
It's yellow, and it's I believe it's a vegetable, but it has a sweeter flavor. And she hooked me when she said it's kind of nostalgic, kind of like how Fruit Loops, and I was like, sold. If I can eat Fruit Loops healthy, perfect. So she brings a lot of really interesting information into the market because she just knows how to grow and use food to sustain the body, and that's what it's all about, right?
Good to talk to her.
Yeah,
very
she's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
All right, Reeves, if people want to learn more about the market, how can they go about doing that?
So we are, you can find us online, magnoliacommunityfarmersmarket.com. Email us, magnoliacommunityfarmersmarket@gmail.com. We have both a Facebook page and an Instagram page, so we are out there. It's very easy to find us. And we're on top of it. So if we hear from you, you will hear back from us.
Oh, that's
Sounds
nice.
great.
Yeah. Well, we will write and we will visit.
Excellent, please do. It's a lot of fun. We
We'll
have
see
a
you
lot of fun.
Sundays at 10, Lexington Avenue
Yeah.
in Magnolia.
Yeah.
So Magnolia Community Farmers Market. Rebecca Doyle, thanks so much for your
So
time.
nice
Thank
to
you
see
so
you
much.
again.
Yeah, great
Great
job
to
with
see
all of
you.
that too. It's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Very cool. All right,
Bye.
Heather, the show rolls on.
I know.
How much Magnolia can you handle today?
Ward 5.
Yeah, you ready for more?
I'm loving Ward 5.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
really enjoying being here today.
I
Yeah.
believe Ted Costa's about to join us, although the door just shut behind him over there. So anyway,
So I want to hear about the Magnolia Pier. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on with the Magnolia Pier?
there's a lot. Well, it's what isn't going on with
Okay.
Magnolia Pier.
It's not that big a pier.
Even
It's
trying
amazing.
to figure out the beach situation in Magnolia and the
Yeah.
pier situation in Magnolia.
It's interesting.
and the
you should
line
get the
between Magnolia
farmers
and
market
Manchester.
people on this
Yeah,
because they're
we're
really
ready
on
for Ted.
top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's a lot going on. So hopefully Ted can help clarify those things for
Okay,
us.
all right.
Ted also works in Senator Bruce Tarr's office as well.
Oh,
And so we
okay.
chat with him from time to time. He's sort of like a municipal liaison for Magnolia around here.
All right.
Come on in, Ted. Yeah. You're on.
Make yourself comfortable.
How are you?
Thank you. Very well, very well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we just saw you floating through the window every now and then. We're like, I might as well have him grab a seat here.
I live across the street. I take a tour from time to
Yeah,
time.
do you?
That's great.
So Ted, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Obviously, we want to get into the Magnolia Pier for folks who don't know what's going on, and maybe for locals who might want to know a little bit more about what's going on. We're hoping to tap your shoulder for that.
Great. I'd love to give you some information. So, as you know, in 2017, the pier was destroyed by back-to-back storms, and an initiative was made in collaboration with the mayor and her administration, who backed rebuilding the pier and bringing it back to it's our icon in Magnolia. Every hamlet or village in Gloucester has their own unique, whether it's the paint factory or the art colony or the breakwall in Lanesville. Well, the pier was ours in Magnolia.
And all the
And,
kids jump off it, right?
A
That's
lot of
the
kids
thing.
jump off
Yeah.
it. A lot of kids fish off it. Some people propose on it. Some people go down on, and say goodbye to a loved one on it. It's done a lot of different things for a lot of years. People have commercial fishermen and lobstermen have gone off of it back in the day, and it has different value to different people, but still a strong value nonetheless. So the mayor was behind rebuilding it and getting it back. And if you look at projects like the Lanes Cove Breakwater, which took 5 years, we got it rebuilt in very short order behind a drive from a community that was 150% behind it. They raised $270,000 in 2 events, and are willing to keep going to support it. Unfortunately, one of the components of the pier was chosen by the some of the people not to be rebuilt. That was the float, which played an integral part. So we had a new pier and a new gangway, which totaled a little more than $1.3 million, a big commitment from the administration of the city to go forward. And the float, which served its purpose, it was too large. Discussions were made. The committee was kind of dismissed, or a point of agreement was made to go forward with that oversized older float, and it failed. So with that, the mayor immediately put her team together. It consisted of myself. We had a couple of people leave the Magnolia Pier committee after the pier was built. So I stayed on, the harbor master, the DPW director, and she put together a meeting with Senator Tarr and Representative Ferrante. We were behind getting the pier back into a functional capacity that the people were accustomed to and deserve to have. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a pandemic, trying to get quotes, so what didn't help the cause is unfortunately social media. As we're trying to progress and go forward, the people that feel that they're in the know or have the correct information were bashing the mayor and members of the staff in the harbor master's office, and it really kind of is not warm.
This was during the construction of the
This is during the float coming apart and a new float needing to be up there, so everybody has their own ideas and rights and wrongs. And unbeknownst to them, we're trying to conduct meetings because there's several permits that go along with that pier. You just can't go and do what you want to do in the ocean, even if you are the city and you own, the property that's in and around it. So the permits with the original pier were closed. They needed to be reopened. There were 3 of them. Conservation Commission had to be brought back into play. That was done. Some revenue needed to be generated, and engineering needed to be done on the right size of float. The theory was, which the pier committee had in the beginning, to have a gallows lift off of the pier, which would lift the gangway up to be horizontal with the pier, although heading in towards the beach, so that the larger surges could go underneath the pier and not disrupt the gangway and the float, and naturally the float being much smaller. So the process in coming up with the float took some time. People were given a different task, meeting all the while, and we explored the aluminum float because the price of aluminum, with comparison to the price of pressure-treated wood with the pandemic, were quite similar. The harbor master looked at wave attenuating concrete floats, which are part of an integral system, as we found out, and couldn't be used there. So GZA, the architect that was hired to build or design the original pier, came up with a float system, a design, a gallows lift, a davit wench, if you would, to prevent what happened in this particular point. As we sit now, we've salvaged the gangway, which fell into Magnolia Harbor at the storm that broke the float.
in 2017?
No, this was last year.
So the float broke up last year.
Yeah, we got a year's use out of it before the float came apart. So the gangway has been pulled up, brought to the DPW yard, where an adequate staff city welder who does great work with soft metals has made the necessary repairs. We've identified a donor in the community who, I don't have his permission to mention a name, but he's going to give us a float, much smaller in size, that can go over. There are a couple of crews that Mike Hale from the DPW has identified to go over and reset the moorings. The 4,000-pound moorings, to which there are 4 of them, were disrupted in that last storm, so they'll be reset. And he hopes to have a float over there sometime in the next couple of weeks, or at least in the month of July, so that it can be used for part of the summer, all the while this 4 pages of detailed engineering information would then ensue, with piles driven off the pier and a proper lift being made, and a more sizable float being resurrected and hopefully taken out of the area and put back up on the landing like they used to, I guess, is what people want to hear. So
Oh, so there will be a temporary float, and then there will be this 4-page, well-engineered float.
there's a permanent resolve to follow up after the temporary float is done. And we had anticipated having that in place prior to the summer season, but some permitting and some other issues did hamper that a little bit. It's really hard to get people in different capacities to meet with all that was going on by way of Zoom and what needed to be done, and the requirements to get quotes and things coming back in. People are just busy, the materials aren't there, and once we got everything lined up to satisfy those that needed to bless us going forward. But we couldn't have done this without the involvement of the mayor and her team and Senator Tarr's office. I mean, he's identified potential funding sources within different budgets and avenues for us to pursue. The cost going forward with the idea of the davit and the lift and the permanent float is just the engineering component alone is $38,000. There is some money left over from the pier project, which has started that, and you know, maybe we got to get back into the grassroots fundraiser like we did, and see if we can get some money to either put a ribbon on it once again or have some perpetual care money going forward. But you know, again, I couldn't say enough about the DPW director, Mr. Hale, and the mayor being out in front of this. And it just, I'm not a social media person. I don't know how Facebook works. I don't get on any of that. My family forbids me from doing that for different reasons, but probably all good. But to hear the disparaging comments and things going at it makes it hard to kind of go to work, and you've got people in the community that are kicking you for something that's beyond your control, not understanding that people are working and the permits are being in place. But nonetheless, the team never lost focus. Unfortunately, it didn't happen as quickly as people wanted to, because we were still, as much as people don't think the pandemic's still going on, it's still hard to get things done.
Right.
But there's documentation, there's fact, there's parts that are moving, and we hope it'll be done, again, like I said, in a couple of weeks, if not by the end of this month of July. And we'll be able to enjoy it for whatever purposes we like to enjoy it.
Well, we're glad you were here to clarify things for us. If people want to learn more about this, can they do that online? Is there a place where they can find some of this information?
It's not on the Facebook page.
Right.
There is not anything online.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best thing would be to reach out to myself. We have 2 new members that are coming on the Magnolia Pier Advisory Committee. Noreen Gillis, who's a longtime Magnolia resident, will be one, and I believe Steve Doe has sent in a request to the mayor to be on that pier as well. We're around Magnolia all the time, whether it's the farmers market, the beach, or just at one of the restaurants, or doing something civic-wise in the community. So grab us and let us know if we can answer any questions or give you any of the correct information to keep the flow accurate. I mean, being positive is much more better than the results are much better than being negative.
And you said it right from the top that it is our iconic image here in Magnolia. I mean, that is our logo.
No, that and this castle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
And
I
maybe you, if you keep being a guest.
No, I'll yield to you and your mother and all the great civic work she does in the community. I'm just a fill-in.
Well, it takes a village. We're all part of it.
I think we need a Gloucester Times article about this float. That's what I think.
Okay.
Because we need some clarification,
We
right?
talk to Taylor every Thursday.
Yeah, we need to tell Taylor.
Yeah, we
but-
can do that.
yeah.
Taylor calls from time to time, and my
Yeah.
wife's cousin Gail McCarthy, she writes once in a while
Yeah,
too.
she's
So
Grail's
we'll
great.
get her.
Yeah.
But
All
thank you for giving us the time to kind of
Anytime, Tim.
set the record straight, and I'll tell my wife I don't have to get on Facebook after all.
No,
There you go.
we'll,
Well,
we'll be on
well,
Facebook
you're on
for
it
you.
right now,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah, we're live there.
We
So,
better
all right.
delete this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Tim Costa from the Magnolia Pier Foundation. Is that?
Pier Committee.
Pier Committee.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Tim.
you.
All right, we'll catch up with you
Thank
soon.
you.
Okay. Great stuff. All right.
I think our next guest is also on that peer committee.
She may be. She's definitely the bigwig at the Magnolia Historical Society.
Yeah, I think I saw her name on the Facebook page. She was making some corrections. People were getting upset, and our next guest was saying, hold on, get the information right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we're ready for Judy. Yeah, and this is Judy Gillis. She is everything at the Magnolia Historical Society, which is the old Blivin Schoolhouse on Magnolia Avenue in Magnolia. I work with Judy really closely on my timeline pieces. You saw the history of Lexington Avenue and the Hodgson Kennard Jewelry Heist. Come on in, Judy. And so we can talk about that for a bit as well, and the amazing archives and history here in Magnolia. So,
I think I only got an nth of it.
yeah.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Heather. Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you. Yes.
How are you, Judy?
I'm a little sore right now because I took a Dixie,
Oh, did you really?
No.
of course. And please have a helicopter and a lift to get me out of here.
Oh, God.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'll help you with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't. Well, I keep forgetting.
Did you shriek? I didn't hear anything. I heard the tour guide.
I had two very sweet people from Chicago who got me up off the floor, and I told them how to do it because we've done this before on Lexington Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I fell there and Brad come around the corner.
Oh, man.
Talk
Well,
about embarrassing moments.
this should be the
please.
easiest part of your day then.
Oh,
Let's
I
hope.
think this is going to be.
Yeah. So, Judy, I want to ask, so right off the top, we could get into castle history.
Yeah, we could get into castle history, couldn't
yay.
we?
But
Here we
right
go.
off the top, though, so how close to the Gloucester Magnolia line are we right now? And has the
Okay.
castle always technically been in Magnolia?
99 Hesperus Avenue is the last telephone number on the Magnolia Exchange, so I call that the end of Magnolia.
Okay.
Teddy's house, which is the next house in, has got a Gloucester telephone number, so that's Gloucester.
Ted Costa is technically a Gloucester resident?
Yes, he is.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't-
However,
This is
Freshwater
ridiculous.
Cove
Yeah.
and this picture right here, this is Long Hill.
Yeah, I have
you
no
guys
idea.
know
Are we going to be
this.
able to show this at all?
You're going to be able to
If
get
I-
some of these clips because these will be great. This is actually John Hayes Hammond Sr.'s
Heather, you might have to
home.
hold those up.
Yeah.
And this is where all the fun was, originally from John Hayes Hammond Jr. before he got this land. Hammond Sr. owned all of Freshwater Cove, which Magnolia, we have claimed that for years, and everything from, actually, Cressy's Beach, all the way here. It's us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Magnolia thing. Hey, so before we get too deep into this, let's just talk about the Historical Society too. And you're still situated over in the Bloomin' Schoolhouse, right? And because, is this open to the public? Where can people go and
Right now, we're still not open to the public.
Yeah.
We're trying to put everything together. We have moved out of the library completely. All of our artifacts are up there. What you're seeing from the artifacts today are all my own personal. And that's what I'm working out of right now, to do all the things that I've been trying to do the history here on Magnolia and go with it. We need a lot of either help or money. We've got that room almost ready to go.
Yeah.
They're gonna put the trim on it. Lisa said she'd like to open it. The Magnolia Historical Society was founded in 1982, August 1st of 1982, by Frances Hines, who is Lisa Peake's grandmother.
yeah.
Lisa Peake Ramos's grandmother, and she's now running it. There's probably 2 original members that are left, myself and Jim Cook. And we've been trying to log in things and work on the computers, and it's not easy to do that up there right now, to be honest with you. So I practically stepped back and just said, look, I'm going to teach history. This is what I do. This is what I love. I have on the Facebook page of the Magnolia Historical Society, I will be putting up the 4th hotel out of 7 that Magnolia had. Now, we had 4 of them on Lexington Avenue. No,
Amazing.
wrong. 3 of them on Lexington Avenue. The next one is going to be the one that was built bigger than the Oceanside until the Oceanside said, see ya, and became the biggest hotel on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Other than the George Washington, which is still alive.
This is why we need your historical society, because there is so much happening in that tiny little hamlet, right?
Isn't there?
It's incredible how much American history is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I was saying, Judy, before you came in, how instrumental you've been in helping me share some of those stories. Like the Oceanside story is unbelievable. I mean, we're talking the rich and famous were there often. You know, John Philip Sousa's band was actually playing there. Is there one ledger, one guest book ledger that you still have?
We
at
got
the
it.
Bloomin'?
It's
You've
George
got-
Cruzen's.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing.
amazing.
Who
I also have a copy of George Cruzen's scrapbook at my house. That's what I did the Oceanside Hotel on.
Yeah.
And all those photographs that you saw in there, that's why it took me 10 sessions to get the thing up.
Right.
And I did not have the heart.
because I don't have the, thank God I don't have the pictures of the fire, but I just didn't have the heart. Because when I put that last one up that had this in it, that I brought, where is it? There it is. This is my own, I made a scrapbook on a scrapbook. When I put this whole thing up, this 4-page thing that I did, a little history on it, and then I wrote again below it, I was sitting at my computer, just reminiscent, the tears are coming down my face.
Yeah.
This is how much I love the place, and I have a reason to say that. I was born in 1952. Okay, I'll give away my age. And my father and mother had built a house at 3 Ocean Avenue, which is next door to the Oceanside Hotel.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
The new owners, after George Cruzen sold it in 1946, the Oceanside Hotel Corporation, had been refurbishing the whole hotel. That whole hotel was in perfect shape. But my father used to take me to work with him.
Judy,
Did he
louder,
work there?
louder, we can't hear you.
May not be loud, please.
Well, I know.
How cool. Did he work at the hotel?
He was working, he was doing steam fitting over there. So they dressed me up in the morning and I'd go over and play in the lobby. So I'm the only person in the whole wide world that had a 500-room dollhouse, when you think about it.
That's amazing.
And ever since then, it was kind of like a love-hate relationship. But of course, the night it burned down, the next day, Dad
So what
says-
year did it burn down?
It burned down on December 11th, 1958, in 8-degree warmth.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were soaking down the houses that were on Hesperus Avenue.
So your house wasn't compromised?
No, we had moved at that point. We were living
okay.
down, that's another story. Living down on Magnolia Avenue. No, that's another story because of Magnolia Avenue, I found out exactly where it started and it made sense, and I'll tell you that story quickly. But the ocean side, when that left us, really left the village with a void. That's when the summer residents stopped coming. By 1970, there was probably a half a dozen that was still summer homes.
Yeah.
Since then, they have been turned into either condos, apartments, or single-family homes. All along Shore Road, Hesperus Avenue, Norman Avenue. We lost the most important building in Magnolia 6 years ago, when when Vera's docks burned down.
So this is the Magnolia House of Pizza,
Oh,
where
yeah,
it was. And
right.
it was
Right.
Doc Vieira's.
It was
Monty
actually
store
built in
forever.
1886 by Arthur Lysett, who built 10 other houses. There's still some of his stuff standing. But to get back to the ocean side, there are still 4 buildings that were owned and operated by the ocean side still standing.
After the big hotel burned down.
After the big hotel burned down. There's one down on Flume Road,
The Shatford's house?
Shatford's house. And thank you, David Fay, because he just found out something, and boy, we had fun with this. 52 Lexington Avenue. Paul and Gail Day's house was Doc Peliquin's house.
Yeah.
Is the second Willow Cottage.
Really?
Yes, the first Willow Cottage was down next door to where I grew up, on Magnolia Avenue, which is number 5. And that's, like I said, there's another story there. And that's where the arts and crafts people stayed. We started the arts and crafts that are now down in Rocky Neck. And a few other things started
When you say
in
we,
Magnolia.
you mean the community of
The
Magnolia?
community of Magnolia.
Yeah.
William Morris Hunt had
Oh.
his pagoda here.
No
And-
way.
Yeah, you know where down in the square where the acupuncturist is, that building?
I don't know the acupuncturist, but
Well-
I know the square.
Let me see, 2 Magnolia Avenue.
Okay.
And I'll call it Archie's, because that was where we ate. It was the
Breakfast place.
packet.
Okay.
But when William Morris Hunt, the last 2 or 3 years of his life, he came to Magnolia to paint and stuff.
Right.
And he built a building on that property that had a pagoda that you could look all over the place with.
Oh my gosh.
And one of his students was Helen Knowlton.
Right, who was a painter, and so many people
Yes.
studied with her. Yes, I
They
know
owned
her.
the Willow Cottage.
Oh my gosh.
The Willow Cottage was an old farmhouse that the Daltons had, And they had sold it out of Boston to the Knowlton family, and they stayed in it for years. And I'm not sure how Bernard Stanwood got in here yet, but I know he owned the property too. And over the years, as it changed, the Wilkinsons owned it, the Burkes owned it, and now John Ronan's living in there.
Oh, right.
Former poet
Our
laureate
poet,
for the
yeah,
city of
exactly.
Gloucester.
Now, I think that's real interesting.
And the
that
writer's block.
This little place that they stayed at was where the arts and crafts people stayed, and John Ronan is what? He's a writer.
Right.
Right, exactly.
So we still have, and I think the back side, the apartment on his house, is part of the Willow Cottage.
Ah.
I can't prove it, but I played in there when I was a kid, and yes, there were numbers on the doors.
Really?
And William Morris Hunt was a leader in the arts and crafts movement. And sort of an
And then
iconic
came
leader.
Frank Knox Morton Wren, whose studio is still standing and house is still standing.
Rebecca Doyen lives there.
Yep, Rebecca Doyle. I really wish he hadn't, when he remodeled it, did what they did with it.
Yeah.
The person before Doyon bought it, but everybody who drives down Shore Road,
Yeah.
for years we watched this barn that was like this. And when Claire got her hands on it, she got a house right in there. I don't think she knew what she had there at the moment. I did.
Yeah.
And that's when I finally gave her the picture of it and told her this was Frank Knox Morton Wren's studio. And he's famous for sea paintings. We got 4 of his paintings in the museum.
Have you seen our Color of Light video?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember you emailed me after, I remember.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
you usually get the, when I do these things,
Yeah.
I will turn around and give you a critique on it right off the bat.
Okay, was this
Kory knows this.
Was it okay?
It was wonderful.
Well, Jim Cook really helped a lot with that.
Yes,
Yeah, he
Jim
gave
would-
me the tour.
You want art, you go to Jim.
Yeah.
You want history, you come this way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a musician. I love art and everything, and I happen to be Debbie Clark's model every once in a while. I've got 2 of my old portraits at home, and I got some of her stuff.
Beautiful.
But I do love art, but I mean, I can't. I was a draftswoman, and I still can't draw. So that ends that idea right there, real quick.
Well, Judy, honestly, we could have 1,000 stories here. And I think every time we come back to Magnolia, I want to be able to have you there and share something different. But also, more importantly, like, we have to help the Historical Society. And so how can people do
Money.
that? Yeah.
We need money.
And where are they sending this money to?
Send the money to, well, okay, you can either go to our website, magnoliahistoricalsociety.com, and they're in
Are you .com or .org?
I think you're .com. We used to be .com.
Okay, we'll double check.
Yeah.
Go on to Facebook, to the website page there. And our address is, and don't send it to the schoolhouse, because we had to take the mailbox down because the neighborhood kids got into it. Some things don't change in Magnolia.
Yeah.
The kids
Kory.
are the,
Yeah. Ask Kory.
oh, God, ask me.
Yeah.
I was a kid here, remember that? Post Office Box 5551, Magnolia Station, Magnolia, Massachusetts, 01930, Magnolia Historical Society. We need as much money as we possibly can get. We're halfway through our project. And the library's project is going faster than ours. So
I got to introduce you to these peer people then.
Yeah, right.
They make a pretty penny.
let me tell you something. I work with Teddy on that.
Yeah.
That peer. Oh, my peer. Oh.
Told you she was
Yeah,
on the
we'll have to
page.
get a couple
Yeah,
shekels
yeah.
out of Teddy before he leaves today. Man.
She was built in 1938. My father watched it be built. And that was the 3rd out of the 4th piers. The piers are interesting because the steamship wharf was owned by Daniel Fuller, who developed the point. He bought the land in 1867, not 1967, 1867. He started building his own hotel. That's the Hesperus house that was on Hesperus Avenue. That did not burn down. That got pulled down, and they had a controlled burn in 1953 to try to save hotels that were burning down. It didn't do a thing for the Oceanside, but over the years, from the Pavilion right up to the Oceanside Hotel, the buildings, these hotels came down one after the other.
That's just
And it was
amazing.
the way they were built, it was the fact that it was a balloon build.
Yeah.
It was all wood. And things like that. I mean, this scrapbook that I've got.
Well, Judy, we
Think
got to
through
move.
this
We actually, because the
for
next
yourself.
tour is coming through now. So, yeah. But I will actually want to talk to you after this because I want to work on the next Magnolia timeline with you. I want your recommendations for that. And I want to get the word out to help the Historical Society in the meantime. So we'll get the word out there for
We
you.
need as much money as we can. If you want to keep hearing these things, matter of fact, I used the Oceanside Hotel as a fundraiser, and I wasn't going to do that. You know, I hate begging for money, but the fact of the matter is we need it.
Yeah, and Judy posts great little bits of Magnolia history on the Historical Society's Facebook page all the time.
Yeah, it's a great site to go to.
The next one
Yeah.
is the new Magnolia, which is where the pub was.
Yeah, awesome.
And 2 Ocean Avenue is, and I've got today pictures and pictures of the place, and I got a little tidbit in there that I'm going to save for it,
Okay.
because you're going to be kind of shocked about when you hear it. Because unfortunately, the place burned down in 1907. That and the blind men both went down the same year.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of fire.
Yeah, but nobody
We're good
brought
at
any
it.
marshmallows either. I don't know.
Well, Judy Gillis.
Kory and Heather,
Yeah.
thank you very much for having me.
Anytime,
for
Judy.
coming.
Yeah, we love it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I
great.
was going to be a complete nervous wreck today, but I guess I got through it.
Oh,
No,
no, we
we
have
love
to
our
do-
historical
Edit
museums
half
and
of this out,
societies.
and let's stick with the history, and life will be beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you've been a great help to both of us with the Color of Light series and
Yes.
Timeline Cape Ann, so
Yeah.
we'll talk with you
You want to
shortly.
know about some Manchester stuff, I can tell you that too.
Get that. Well, that's
Okay.
hush hush.
Yeah,
Okay,
right,
Judy
exactly.
Gillis from Magnolia Historical Society, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
having
All
me.
right, and Heather, it's
great.
time for us to wrap up
Yeah.
our first live show in a long time for Cape Ann today. Do you want to thank our guests?
I do want to thank our guests. I want to thank Katie McElwain, the director of the Hammond Castle, Jen Holmgren, who is leaving as at-large counselor, and she is also a Ward 5 resident.
That's right.
Felicia Webb from CADA came to talk to us and told us so much about how to ride the buses around here. And Kory Rinn, our musician, we are so happy to have him here. Fran White came from the Cape Ann Symphony. She's the president of the board there, and she told us about the concert that will be in her home on July 18th. Get tickets. Rebecca Doyen from the Magnolia Farmers Market, thank you so much. And she also lives in Frank Knox Morton Wren's home,
Yeah.
an important landmark in Magnolia. Ted Costa talked to us about the Magnolia Pier.
Everything you needed to know and more.
There will be a float.
That's right.
Okay, that's what matters. And Judy Gillis from the Magnolia. You put Manchester in my head. Stop it. The Magnolia.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, so Judy, thank you so much. Thanks to all our guests.
we got to thank
gotta
our crew
thank you.
too.
Both
David
historians
Lufkin is on this camera over there. It's
That
so
is
great to
funny.
be working
That
with
is
David
funny.
again after a year and a half. Thanks for doing this as always. Alana Horn is our floor director. Thanks for doing this, Alana. Becky Coyle. I got the married name in there, Becky. Kyle Davey, Matt McMakin, Maureen Aylward, and Eric Archer. And Heather, there you go. We were going to see.
Thank you, Kory.
Yeah, this was fun. It was good doing this again. We'll see all of you in 2 weeks' time at the Beauport Hotel, and we'll tell the story of that neighborhood, the Fort neighborhood, in greater detail too. And hey, this was fun. sitting
This
here
is
with you
really
again.
fun. Hopefully we have better weather at the Beauport.
Yeah.
But this was wonderful. It's perfect castle weather, actually.
Yeah, and you can follow Cape Ann Today every day at 1623 Studios on Facebook, YouTube, our website, 1623studios.org, you name it. So thanks again to everyone here at Hammond Castle for having us today. They're a gracious host. We love being here and can't wait to come back again for Halloween. And thanks for watching and sticking with us throughout the pandemic as well.
Right, on Zoom, all those Zooms. Thank you.
Kory Rinn, take us away, buddy.
Who sent you out with expectation? Who sent you away in hopes that you'll make it? Who had time to spare when times were tough? Who had a dream that you were out, have that same dream and act on it? child was making up their mind for the first time, whose life is on the line, give them words from the wild. Who had a vision that became a painting, who cried at night in the fear you were alone, whose memories and music became a cornerstone, who told you no matter where you go, you'll have a home. Oh, mothers, fathers, please be kind to the child who is making up their mind for the first time, whose life is on the line, give 'em words from the wild. Who sent you out with expectations, who made it clear that we all have a choice, who helped us discover what it means to be free,